Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today's Primal Origin discussion video is on Nash, Marin, and Dumon's cards that they used in the anime, sort of packed them together, so we can just talk about them since they're semi-related.
Alright, we're going to kick it off with Nash's cards, the first of which is Mermaid Shark. It's a water fish effect monster, level 1. It's got 100 attack and 300 defense with the effect of, when it's normal summoned, you can add a level 3 to 5 fish type monster from your deck to your hand.
So basically this is just going to search out any level 3 to 5 fish type monster in your deck. It can't search out itself, of course, which I'm not totally sure why you'd want to. You're going to have to normal summon this, so it's going to have 100 attack, which is kind of a bummer, but just the ability to search out pretty much any fish type monster that you're likely to use from your deck is pretty useful.
Yeah, that it searches out pretty much everything at least sharks use. I mean, aside from itself, obviously, but the 3 to 5 gives you access to all the level 5 fish that are actually pretty good. Plus, the nice thing, say if you were to have a legendary ocean or something like that out, you can grab those level 5 fish monsters, and then with Legendary Ocean, they're treated as level 4, and you can summon them right to the field.
That is a very useful strategy. Additionally, you can use this to get out, or to grab more special summon variant fish monsters, sort of like Silent Angler, in order to allow for additional summons during the turn.
It's really just, honestly, it's a search card for any shark card you're planning on using. With the bonus of working for a whole bunch of other fish. So, alright, and then the second of Nash's cards that we're going to talk about is Geyser Shark. It's a water fish effect monster level 5. It's got 1,000 attack and 1,900 defense, and its effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 2 level 5 water monsters in your graveyard except Geyser Shark. Special summon both of those targets, but their effects are negated. Immediately after this effect resolves, Xyz summon 1 water Xyz monster using those 2 monsters only. And you can only use the effect of Geyser Shark once per turn.
So, as you can probably pretty obviously tell, it's an instant Xyz play. If this card is in your graveyard, whether it's sent there through whatever means, you can just banish it and target 2 other level 5 water monsters. I would primarily use it in a deck that focuses more on the level 5s, because you're gonna be more likely to have those level 5
fish in your grave, yeah.
fish in your grave, as opposed to a deck that runs multiple level sharks or whatnot.
Now, obviously, it is kind of restrictive what this can be used for an Xyz summon for, since it does restrict to specifically those 2 monsters that you summoned, and it has to be a water Xyz monster. So it really only works for Zeriort, Freezedon, Abyss Splash, Crystal Zero, and why does it say Freezedon again? So those 4 cards, that it does restrict it, so like you can't use it for C101 or C103, which we'll talk about later on the video, because those require 3 materials, and you have to immediately summon using those 2. Again, this card does actually have a really good combo with a Legendary Ocean, because if you have a Legendary Ocean in play, as soon as you summon those 2 level 5 fish water monsters back from the graveyard, they immediately become level 4, which would make it so you can then Xyz a rank 4 water Xyz monster like Abyss Dweller or Mermaid Shark. So that's another play. It could actually be really nice. Plus, in the Legendary Ocean, you're already running level 5s, because Legendary Ocean makes it so you can just summon them.
Yeah, also you can just go ahead and rank up into the, or sort of shift into full armored Crystal Zero Lancer.
Yep.
Which is, of course, always a good play. If you are able to, like, change your level 5, since you can't get out C101, into an Aqua type monster, I think you're able to use Astral Force and go into Abyss Gaios.
Yep. Alright, and then next we have the only effect monster used by Marin. It's Blizzard Thunderbird. It's a water winged beast effect monster level 4 with 1600 attack and 1400 defense. With the effect of, you can discard a card, special summon both 1 water winged beast type monster from your hand and 1 from your graveyard except Blizzard Thunderbird. Then return this card on the field to the hand, and you can only use that effect once per turn.
So this is also a instant Xyz pretty much, except with the sort of better effect that you don't have to instantly Xyz. You could just keep them on the field. It is going to work rather well with your Blizzard Falcons if you can increase their attack with like a field spell like Umi or a Legendary Ocean, any of the counterparts there, and deal a lot of burn damage there.
Another nice thing is it does not necessarily restrict to a level. So if you want to revive, say, an Ice Beast Zerofine or an Ice Princess Zeriort, you can summon those back with this effect. It does not restrict you to monsters with a level, unlike a lot of these cards.
Of course, it could also be used to get out your Ice Princess Zeriort, since it's a more difficult monster to get out in the first place. Also, the Ice Beast Zerofine is definitely a card to get out through this.
Both of those are very easily summoned. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, you're set up for an Abyss Dweller, which is obviously a very handy card to have, because you're going to have 2 water-winged beast-type monsters. There's only 4 of which that have a level, 3 of which are level 4, and the last is level 5. So
yeah, so that you are going to get the 500-point bonus from that, and all of your other water monsters, which you're likely going to be playing, are going to get that 500-point bonus thanks to Abyss Dweller.
Alright, and then next we're going to talk about Marin's over 100 numbers, starting with number 103, Ragnafinity. It's a water fairy Xyz effect monster, rank 4. It's got 2400 attack and 1200 defense. It takes 2 level 4 monsters to Xyz summon into. With the effect of once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach a material from this card, then target one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, whose current attack is different from its original attack. Destroy it, and if you do, draw a card.
So this is a great card. It's generic, which obviously allows it to be played in any deck that can make a rank 4. Plus, when you destroy a monster, you get to draw a card, so it's additional draw support. And this is a great Xyz monster against Fire Fist, since they constantly increase their attack from their original, so you're going to be able to destroy pretty much any monster you want and get that draw.
Another nice thing, there's a couple other combos you can do. For example, if you use Gaga Magician and Gaga Girl to summon this card, Gaga Girl's effect will automatically, when you Xyz summon this card, make a monster's effect 0. So that's one way you can trigger this card's effect. The Forbidden cards is also a very good way to use this, because most of those will trigger switching the attack and defense. And then there's a lot of other cards that you can use, like Shrink or number 94, things like that, where you can alter your opponent's attack, even just slightly, because it only has to be different. It doesn't have to be different by a whole lot, so it just has to be slightly different. Alright, and then next we're going to follow with the Chaos over 100 number version of 103, which is number C103, Ragnafinity, which is a water fairy Xyz effect monster, rank 5. It's got 2800 attack and 2400 defense. Takes 3 level 5 monsters. And once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach a material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Inflict damage to your opponent equal to the difference between that monster's original and current attack, and if you do, banish it. And then when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard while it has Xyz material, you can special summon this card back from the graveyard, but number 103 Ragnafinity must be in your graveyard to activate and resolve that effect.
So one sort of random play that I can think of with this is to use it with Chronomalies, perhaps, because they can, or sort of Chronomaly support with this card, since you can use the effects of their Xyz monsters to sort of change the attack and deal extra damage through this card, and also be able to destroy their monster.
And I mean, the whole effect of you basically get to deal damage and banish their card. And again, all it has to do is it just has to be different. And obviously the size difference you'll deal more damage, but you get to banish it either way. And again, like Ragnafinity, this is a quick effect. So if at any point, like if your opponent activated an equip spell card or something like that to increase their attack, you can immediately chain to that. Well, as soon as it resolves, you can immediately... it's got to resolve so they get the attack, but... depending on the card, obviously, but
it'd be on a different chain. But another thing is, although just its effect to banish sort of gets around a majority of protection effects, you can use the effects of Forbidden Chalice to negate the effect of your opponent's monster if it does have a protection effect that could get around this card, and then go ahead and banish it through this card's effect.
Obviously, like Ragnafinity, there's a lot of combos with this card, various things you can use to lower your opponent's monster's attacks. Obviously, like we talked about, the Chronomaly cards, number 94, Other great ones, Burden of the Mighty is an incredibly good card for this, just by having a continuous effect that just lowers your opponent's monster's attack. So comboing that with this card is you'll pretty much always have a live card, unless they have an Xyz monster only out.
So that would also work with the number 103 to have additional destruction as well.
Alright, and then next we have Dumon's only card in this set, which is number C102, Archfiend Seraph. It's a light fairy Xyz effect monster, rank 5. It's got 2900 attack and 2400 defense. Takes 4 level 5 light monsters. And if this face-up card would be destroyed, you can detach 2 Xyz materials from this card instead. When the last Xyz material is detached from this card, inflict 1500 damage to your opponent. And then if it has number 102 Star Seraph Sentry as an Xyz material, it gets the effect of once per turn you can detach a material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, change that target's attack to 0, and if you do, negate its effects.
So this is semi-generic, sort of, since it's 4 level 5 light monsters, as opposed to if you do want to summon it without ranking it up. So this could be summoned through the likes of there's a lot of level 5 support like Cyber Dragon and such, or you can do it through the artifacts, which are new to this set, to easily get it out that way. But its detach to be destroyed is definitely a bonus.
And the nice thing, even if you're not doing that, if you have this card out with 4 Xyz materials, you basically get to use an effect like Starleash Paladynamo 4 times. And then when you're done, you just deal additional burn damage.
Yeah, this is also great in combination with number C103, or 103 for that matter, since you are going to be able to change their attack to 0 and negate its effects, so you're not only bringing their attack down to 0 for the effect of 103 or C103, but you're also negating its effects for any protection effect that happens to be there.
Another nice thing, being a rank 5 fairy, if you're going for attack power, you can also use Astral Force on rank up magic Astral Force on Mech-Equipped Engineer. Similar how we talked about Tiras before, back when we talked about rank up magic Astral Force, but now this is another good target just for raw attack power, because it does have 2900 attack.
Yeah, that would so you'd have 1 Xyz material there, but you wouldn't be able to use it since its 1 detached Xyz material effect is only exclusive to having number 102. But if you are able to add a material, you would be able to prevent its destruction once and still get off that 1500 points of damage to your opponent.
Yeah, they designed that effect a little differently, where if you summon it through methods other than number 102, it's hard to get the burn damage effect. It's possible, it's just hard. Alright, and then last but not least, we have the ace card of all the Barian Emperors. We have Rank Up Magic, the 7th one, which is a normal spell card. It's a very complicated effect. To activate this card, you must draw it for your normal draw in your draw phase, reveal it, and then keep it revealed until the start of the main phase 1. Then at the start of the main phase 1 of that same turn, you can special summon from your extra deck or graveyard one monster that has a number between number 101 and number 107 in its name, except the number C monsters. Then Xyz summon from your extra deck one number C monster with the same number in its name as the first monster by using it as an Xyz material. And then you have your Chaos over 100 number. You can only use the 7th one once per duel. So, very complicated effect there.
So obviously you're not going to run more than one of this card.
Yeah, there's really no point. Mainly because if you run more than one, you run the risk of the one chance where you can make this card a dead card, which is having it in your opening hand, unless you use other draw power in your deck.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want this card to be dead since it's so powerful. You're going to be able to get out any sea monster with its full effect due to you Xyz summoning it through its original number.
And obviously this, just between number 101 and number 107, even just those 2 cards is an incredibly powerful way to get this out, because you have, on one hand, you have number 101 and C101 that basically they just grab your opponent's monsters and they can't do a whole lot about it, to number 107 going up to C107, where this is a 1-card spell card that summons out a 4,500 attack monster, which also has the ability to basically negate all your opponent's effects for the entire turn. So it's a very wide range of effects this card's great for.
Yeah, but you are going to have to notice that this card, if it does become dead, you're going to have to either just accept that fact or have cards in your deck to perhaps prevent that through the likes of Card Trader, or perhaps to use it in another way by using Summoner Monk or something of the sort, and then hopefully being able to put it back into your deck through maybe like the Transmigration Prophecy or something like that.
One personal favorite of mine, way to get it back on top of your deck, is to use Plague Spreader Zombie, because that just lets you put it back on top of your deck, so you get it next turn, and you get Plague Spreader back on the field. So that's one of my favorite plays, to get it back into the deck if you have it as a dead card.
Yeah, and that way you can also do a Synchro Summon, and then if you make an Xyz monster with that Synchro monster, you can use Black and White Wave and do all these shenanigans. A great time.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different plays. Obviously the range of Xyz monsters is pretty great. You can obviously summon number C102 with this. Now the Star Seraphs are not great cards to play this in, because like we said, it has to be drawn for your normal draw. So if you have draw power from any other way, you are risking drawing this card with every card you draw outside of your draw phase. So
and Star Seraphs, lots of draw power.
Yes, so that's one of the risky ones. Obviously it'll work. You'll get your C102, which is a very powerful card, but it's a lot more risky in this deck. Obviously you got your C103 that we talked about earlier. You've got your Umbral Horror Masquerade, who, as a bonus, with nothing else, when number C104 is summoned, you get to destroy a spell or trap card. So if nothing else, you could summon C104 for a raw 3,000 attack power in a 1-card, or in a Mystical Space Typhoon, essentially. And then you can negate a monster effect. Next, you have number C105, which is the Battling Boxer Comet Cestus, and he basically has a Volcasaurus effect where he can just attach to destroy an opponent's monster.
And of course, you have C106, who can just negate an effect on either player's turn. So just being able to do that once is negating any effect is very powerful.
And then, obviously, the last bonus of this card is the fact that the regular number monster pretty much can be anywhere, unless it's banished. You can revive it from the graveyard, or you can just special summon it out of your extra deck. So it pretty much makes your Chaos over 100 numbers pretty live cards in the deck just by being there. So that's another really nice bonus about this card.
But I guess that's it for Nash, Marin, and Dumon's cards for Primal Origins. We hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, leave your comments below on any of your thoughts on any of these cards, and we'll see you for the next video.